Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. Definitely a nonfiction book that's getting talked about a lot at the moment, even though it came out a few years ago. And if you're not aware, that's because later this year, Martin Scorsese is directing the movie adaptation of this book, and it's getting a lot of hype. Definitely, I think, one of the early favorites for the Oscars. The trailer for it looks amazing, so it's definitely getting a lot of people talking about this book. And this is a book I've had wanted to read for a while. I've read another book by David Grann before that I enjoyed a lot. So I kind of knew I wanted to read this book, but once the trailer came out for the movie, I was like, I really probably need to read the book before the movie comes out. So recently went on vacation. This is one of the books I took with me, and I read it in probably a day, day and a half. It was definitely a book. Once I started reading it, I couldn't put down. Now, if I hadn't been on vacation, it probably would have took me a little bit longer, but while I had a lot of free time on vacation, I've definitely plowed through this book. Really enjoyed it a lot. It's nonfiction. I believe I mentioned that before. But it's written in such a style that I believe if you typically don't like nonfiction, you might enjoy this, because it definitely, the author does a great job of kind of giving it a more of a story-like feel. So you feel like you're following along a cast of characters and kind of trying to unravel a mystery. So I think if you're typically not into nonfiction, this might be a nonfiction book that you will enjoy. So the basic outline of this book is focuses on the Osage Native American tribe, whose reservation is in Oklahoma. And in the early 1900s, basically oil is discovered on their reservation and makes them insanely wealthy. As the book even highlights, basically you could argue that they were the richest population in the United States per capita for a period in like the early 1920s. They were rolling in oil money. I would say kind of think of the 1920s versions of like Middle Eastern countries today. And obviously when there's a lot of money, a lot of times that makes some people jealous, and some people figure out how they want to get to the money. And the book really focuses on a series of murders that happens on the Osage reservation that seems to be targeting at trying to get the rights to various oil drilling operations and stuff like that, so some other people can get the money. And several mysterious murders happen in a very short amount of time, and the book kind of covers like what's going on, who's committing these crimes, how this mystery is unraveled. This is actually one of the first big cases that the FBI kind of undertook. So it's definitely a chance for like them to prove like, oh, we can help solve mysterious cases where like the local and state government is not able to. The local authorities had a hard time solving this issue, probably because again, like a lot of times when there's an area with a lot of money, the local government has been accused of being very much incorrupt, and a lot of people believe the people that were actually involved in the crimes were basically bribing the local officials to make kind of look the other way and stuff like that. One thing I really enjoyed about this book, because it definitely is kind of a murder mystery, even though it is a nonfiction, that the author doesn't give it away at the beginning of the book who committed the crime. So if you don't know the background, you go in and it's almost like you're reading a murder mystery novel, and you're trying to figure out like who actually did this. A lot of times in a nonfiction book like this, they would actually early on like tell you this is who committed the crime, and let's kind of go along and figure out how the people actually discovered they committed the crime. That's not how this book does. It's not until probably about halfway to 2/3 of the way through that the author reveals, all right, here's who committed the crime, and this is how the case was finally busted wide open. Even then, there's still more mysteries behind it that was never really solved, and the author's kind of able to delve more into that. Very fascinating book. Definitely highlights a really bad part of American history where Native American tribes were continually abused and overlooked and taken advantage of. And this is just another example that a lot of local, state, and federal government agencies and just people in general were kind of letting these crimes happen for a while before they finally stepped in and helped to stop them. But even then, it's unclear how much they actually stopped them. It's Very fascinating book. I would say typically if you do like true crime books, I think you'll enjoy this one. If you like murder mystery novels, I think you'll like this. If you're a big fan of Martin Scorsese and you're looking forward to his next book, I would definitely recommend checking this book out and kind of getting a better understanding of what his new movie is going to be about. Definitely, I would say so far for this year, this is my favorite nonfiction read that I've read in 2023. Really loved it. And definitely has me more excited to see that movie later this year. So let me know, have you read Killers of the Flower Moon before? What did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, and happy reading.